Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clarissa Griebel. I'm the Director of Advancement here at the Committee of 70. On this 2:30 Studio C70 session, we've got Daniel Bauder, President and CEO of the Philadelphia Council of the AFl-CIO. Danny, welcome. Would you like to take a second to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'd be happy to. Clarissa, thanks so much for having me, and I'm excited to talk to the folks here on our live Facebook. As Clarissa mentioned, I'm the president of the Philadelphia Council, AFl-CIO, which is a federation of unions here in Philadelphia. And so we represent unions in every sector and industry, from construction to healthcare, manufacturing, the public sector, nurses, teachers, workers, city workers, state workers, federal workers. They all belong to our AFl-CIO council. And all told, it's about 150,000 working people here in the city.
Wow, that's wonderful. Who has the biggest constituency?
Wow, I would say that it's probably the majority of the members that we have are in our public sector unions. But we do have a significant number of members in both the private sector, in areas like hospitality or in service, retail, as well as in manufacturing and in construction and the building trades.
Wow, wonderful. So what does your get out the vote effort look like around Election Day?
Well, it kind of ends on Election Day. Our program begins, in a formal sense, the weekend after Labor Day, when we start doing our labor walks, which is a door-to-door effort to talk to union members about the important issues this election, as well as about candidates that have been endorsed by their union. And so we do that weekly, leading up to Election Day, where we have a get out the vote rally either the weekend before the election or 2 weeks before, as was the case this year, and then continues through 7:59 tonight, as we're out in the neighborhoods, knocking on doors, talking to union voters, and making sure that they get out to vote.
Are there specific campaign strategies and activities that unions employ to encourage turnout?
Certainly. In addition to the door-to-door programs, we have phone banking, we do text banking, we've done digital advertising, we've got a very active social media presence. You should follow us at Philly AFl-CIO on all social media platforms. And additionally, each of our affiliate unions generally will send letters in the mail to their members indicating the candidates that have been endorsed, when the election is, how to obtain a mail-in ballot if they're interested, how to find out what their polling place is. And so they do messaging directly to their members, and then we do things in a little bit more of a higher, sort of citywide program.
That's wonderful. How, what role do you think the unions play in voter engagement and encouraging civic participation?
Well, that's I think we play an important role, because our members are not separate from the community. Our members are the community. Our members are coaches, deacons, or otherwise involved in their churches and houses of faith. They are Girl Scout troop leaders. They're all involved in so many different ways within their communities, and so it's important for us both kind of in a public facing way to make sure that we're engaged in the civic process, but it's also very important for us to make sure that our members are informed, not only about the candidates and the issues, but also about how the process is to vote, when, and all the different specifics. Frankly, we use a lot of the information that's available on the Committee of 70's website to share with our members, so that they know when and where their polling places, and when and where it is to vote. We also do some nonpartisan engagement, voter registration. We were involved with the city commissioners this year, making sure that people knew more broadly about their right to vote and how it is to go about, exercising that right. I participated in a press conference with Commissioner Sabir earlier this week to encourage people who have been involved with the criminal justice system to get out and vote, because Pennsylvania is one of, unfortunately, the few states where people who have been involved in the criminal justice system have the right to vote, retain that right. And so we want to make sure that everybody exercises their franchise. We held a nonpartisan voter registration drive in Germantown earlier this fall, where we brought different community organizations together, including Philly Youth Vote, which is our partner for one of our partners for the event, talking about what is a mayor, what is a mayor's power, what is a city council person's role, and informing folks how their government works and why it's so important for them to be involved in it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. How many doors do you think you guys knocked this election season?
Boy, I'd have to
round,
check.
just a guess.
Yeah, I can say that this morning, up until about noon, we hit about 8,000, 8,500.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll probably triple that for the day. Honestly, I don't know how many we hit across the city, but I would say that we probably averaged about 5,000 a week during our weekly canvasses.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Are people quite responsive at the doors and are excited to come out and vote and be part of our advocacy?
People are generally give a good response at the doors. That's just not always the case, and that's just natural. That's life. Not everybody likes having their door knocked on, especially we're usually out there on Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons. People have a lot going on, but they understand that the person who's coming to their door is a fellow union member. They identify themselves and let them know that they're there on behalf of the AFl-CIO and their union to talk to them about the election. And we have a good script that we use at the doors. People are very our members are generally very happy to have another union member come to their door to talk to them about the election.
What do you think is a successful get out the vote campaign for your organization?
We're a partisan organization, so a successful get out the vote campaign is one where the candidates that we're supporting are successful. But more broadly, it's one where people are engaged. It's one where we're able to reach a lot of people, and one where we're able to reach people who don't normally vote in elections like this and get them engaged in this process, show them the value of voting, and make sure that they're able to not only vote in this election, but next year, but also in 2025 as well. It's important for people to be involved in every single election.
And do you think there are any obstacles that unions face in their efforts to increase voter turnout among their members?
No more than any other organization would have. There's certainly voter apathy and voter fatigue, particularly that happens in the even year elections, presidential elections, when there's so much going on television and social media and on the radio, and you kind of reach an information overload point. And so we like to have conversations with our members when possible at their workplace, talking to them about issues, giving them a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on and what the stakes are in a moment like that, as opposed to when we get into sort of in season for the more direct voter contact that I described before. For instance, as we approach the election next year, we're going to have a robust member communication, member education program that's going to be coming out in the late winter, early spring. We're going to be talking to members primarily in their workplaces and at their union meetings about the important issues of the 2024 election, and give them a real knowledge base to work on so that they can make an informed decision when it does come time for them to cast their ballot.
And do you think well, let's see. How does this get out the vote effort by unions contribute to shaping local and national election outcomes?
Well, I mean, locally, I'd say that, candidates that have been supported by a majority of unions or by the AFl-CIO in city elections generally are successful because of our ability to talk to our members and mobilize them to vote. Next year in particular, again, with the caveat we are a partisan organization, we're going to be doing a lot, like I mentioned, a lot of member education to talk about the record of the two candidates. Presumably, it's going to be the two candidates we think it is for president, about both of their records. Both of them have served 4-year terms, and I think that we can make a very strong argument to union members which of those two candidates clearly has working people's best interests at heart and who has the best record for working people. And that's a conversation I am happy to have, at any time with any union member or frankly any voter, talking to them about these real issues and being able to show them very clearly the difference between, presumably those two candidates that'll be facing off in the general election a year from now.
No, you represent a very diverse constituency. How do you think that you're activating your constituency in a way that highlights diversity and inclusion and brings in all sorts of individuals to vote on your engagement issues?
That's a great question, Clarissa. I think that the basic building block of this is the member unions, the affiliate unions that represent the workers directly. And so we work with them to make sure that they have the tools that they need to talk to their members. And then when we do our programming, like the nonpartisan voter education and voter registration drive, when we do the worksite visits, and then when we do the door-to-door conversations, we make sure that we're covering the whole city and that we're not leaving a particular neighborhood or section untouched, because those folks are just as important as any other. And so we want to make sure that we're reaching our members where they are and in the best way possible. For some folks, that's knocking on the door. For others, it's through a text message or social media advertisement. But we find that face-to-face conversations, especially when we can do them at work sites, are by far the most effective way for us to talk to our members, educate and mobilize them. And that's where we have the greatest success.
You mentioned earlier that you use some of Committee of 70's materials. Can I do a little promotion? Which ones do you find the best?
So the political maps are very helpful for folks, for us to be able to explain to them, just kind of how the city is laid out and organized into different ways, into divisions, into wards, into council districts, state house districts, things like that. So that people have a better understanding of, kind of like their place in the broader political landscape. Additionally, other resources, historical vote counts, things like that are things that we share with them as well.
Do you have a favorite moment in election season?
From this election or just in general?
Anyone.
Let's see. It's I have to think about it because again, we're a partisan organization, and so that's definitely I want to make sure that I'm respectful of the Committee of 70 as being nonpartisan. I would say that I like the one of the best memories I have is talking to somebody on the phone who's not sure where it is that's determined to vote but doesn't know where to go to vote, and just asking them for their basic information so I can look up what their polling place is. And I have gone on to Google Maps to look up the distance between their home and their polling place and say, okay, it looks like it's across the street from the corner store, and oh yeah, I do know where that is. And kind of having that sort of an interaction with someone who wants to cast their ballot but wasn't sure where to do it. Anytime that that I have the opportunity to help a voter get out to vote, provide that information to them or help walk them through the process to obtain their mail-in ballot or something like that, is incredibly rewarding to me.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today. Do you have any final words that you want to communicate to the Studio C70 audience?
I would say, if you're not already, involved locally in your ward or division, I recommend that you do that. Regardless of your party, that you get involved locally. And the best way to do that is to go on the Committee of 70 website and find out who your ward leader is and contact that person. Wait until tomorrow; they're a little busy today, and let them know that you live in their neighborhood and that you want to get involved.
thanks for all of your support and everything that you guys do for our city. We're so grateful. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Clarissa.